Thank you, Matt, for sponsoring Content and Social. I'd like to welcome to the stage our final speaker today. I'm not going to say we keep the best for last, but Mark Lobliner, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, CMO, tigerfitness.com. So, you're here at a corporate marketing event.
Yes, I am.
And
I dressed up and everything.
You look fabulous.
Yeah, I gotta say, tailoring this shirt was quite a chore. It was more expensive than the actual shirt itself. That was the best part, yeah.
I bet. So, your background, you have a variety of different backgrounds, but you've been an entrepreneur, you've sold several brands, you employ 24 people with your current business.
Yeah, last time I checked.
So, give us just a little high-level touch on sort of you and your company.
You know, tigerfitness.com is actually an internet retailer of multiple brands, but we have a brand within tigerfitness.com called MTS Nutrition, which is a commonly owned yet autonomous brand. So they're both separate. So MTS Nutrition is able to sell to many different retail stores, whereas tigerfitness.com can sell many different brands, including MTS Nutrition. So it's kind of a cool little business model we have, and from what I can tell, the first of its kind in our market at least.
Awesome. Okay, so in your market, you have a challenge in that it's tough to tell the difference between all the different products.
Well, I mean, in any market, you know, you have just a plethora of products, like any market you're in.
Yep.
And to differentiate within your market, you're going up against mega giants. For us, bodybuilding.com.
Right.
Huge. Okay, then of course, everybody's competitor, whether you're brick and mortar or whether you're an internet guy like me, your main competitor or your main source of revenue is going to be Amazon. What is it, 38% of all Cyber Monday and Black Friday sales were through Amazon. I mean, they've completely changed the environment 120%.
And you can't compete on price.
You know, competing on price, you can compete on price, but even so, you're like, well, Walmart did it, right? Well, last time I checked, Amazon's spanking them too. So price is a very short-term strategy.
Got it. And you're pretty darn advanced when it comes to content, and it's something you recognize you're selling, even though you're not selling it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about gaining trust, okay? And we're also in an industry, in any industry, where people want stuff. They want information. The internet, you go on Google right now, my daughter, she's 11 years old. If I ask her a question or ask a question, I just Google it.
Right.
So, I mean, you're always constantly striving and seeking that information. So when people are seeking that information, you can provide it, it gains trust with that customer, and it also helps weed you out from everybody else because you're there, you're not just selling a tangible good, and it puts a face, and we went over this in the roundtables we had earlier, it puts a face behind what you're selling because people want to feel, you know what, I like that guy. And this goes back, speaking of Walmart, people always look at Walmart, the low price leader, right? The little stupid happy face jumping up and down. People don't realize that company started by Sam Walton doing town halls at his stores locally. People like to think, okay, they like to put a face to a company. And I think I like to do it myself. I like to know who I'm doing business with, who I'm supporting, and I just like to know who's accountable in case something goes wrong.
Right, and a big gaining trust, right? And so
trust is key.
Especially in your industry, which a lot of promises and skepticism.
Well, I mean, we used to call it selling hopes and dreams in a bottle, and our industry has done a disservice to itself by making stupid claims like lose 10 pounds in 7 days and all these just over-the-top claims, which throughout the years, and you're looking at from the 50s from Joe Weider, who pioneered our industry on, you're looking at years and years and years and decades of essentially promising things that couldn't be delivered upon. So how do we say, okay, as our tagline goes, nothing works unless you do. But we're here to supplement, not substitute. And that's where we come in with our social media to hammer home that message.
And a pretty darn personal approach. So this...
Oh, it's very personal.
Very personal. This, and we're going to get into some more details, but this is you at a gate.
God, that's a horrible shot of me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I took a bad moment.
Ooh, yeah.
But the point is, you're at a gate in an airport. I think you're waiting for a flight.
Yeah.
This is on your tigerfitness.com YouTube channel, and you talk about success being a lonely place. Like you're personal, very raw. This is the approach you're taking, is personality and service.
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, you just look at the impersonal approach of a lot of businesses. Heck, you can't script this. Look what happened this week with United and the airline thing and how the CEO completely mishandled that situation. You know, and I think people like to see that, look, you know, we are not some nameless, faceless, we're not just a suit behind an oak desk. We're actually out there, we're living life like you. We're working hard every day to better ourselves. So we're gonna help you better yourself, and we're gonna do this with you. And that's something that is beyond just representing a brand. That's representing a lifestyle. That's representing humanity in general, and empathy is key.
So I know most of the marketers here probably don't have the ability to take a video of themselves at a gate and post it on their corporate site. So, you know, a challenge for us today is how can we take this super, super hyper-targeted, hyper-personal approach and bring us a little closer to that and bring that humanity back into social media?
Well, you know, the way to do it, obviously, you bring Amazon back into the fray, okay? What can Amazon not do? They can't be human. Yeah, they can drop a drone delivery 2 hours after you order it at your doorstep, but it's a drone. It's man versus robot, you know what I mean?
Right.
So what you can do, your differentiating factor from them is going to be you, the fact that you're an actual company who cares. You're not just like, here's an order. They're looking at grocery stores with 2 people to run a Costco-sized warehouse. Right. That's insane. It's awesome, yet it's insane. It's kind of scary. I think people are scared about that. So what can you do? And I can't believe I always point to this, but you look at Wendy's Twitter. Like it's not a person, it's not a dude. And they're literally going in and saying, hey, you know, they're being witty, they're being personable, they're not being scripted. And hey, if you go back to even politics now, like we had Twitter literally versus the mainstream media. And in regards to political affiliation, we all saw that play out. Social media is a powerful, powerful tool to relay your message.
As long as it's personal and genuine.
And you don't have to be a person to be personal. I think that's what we've learned from these corporations who are doing it correctly.
Awesome. So let's go customer first. Let's talk about the Tiger Fitness customer.
Well, the Tiger Fitness customer, I mean, if you're looking at straight demographics, right? You have essentially a predominantly male.
Right.
You know, I'd say most of the fitness industry buying supplements, predominantly male. For our base, it's 25 to 34. Usually it spans a little bit further, 18 to 34. But I like to think of our customer as anybody trying to reach their health and physique goals, because while that's our base, you go outside that. And that's why demographics, for me, demographics are cool to know, like, oh, male, 18 to 34. But I like to learn more about psychographics. And psychographics is key because, you know, if someone's trying to reach their goals, whether it's a woman at home, you know, at the end of the day, one of our top selling products is protein. And everybody can benefit that. So our customer at tigerfitness.com be the same as the MTS Nutrition customer, which is predominantly who buys from us. People who are buying that brand, you know, they're going to be similar.
Right.
They're going to be people who are after achieving their goals. And while we do hit a lot of the, you know, single millennial, a lot of our base is also family oriented. That's where we tie it back to our social media because no one really shows that side of things.
Because people are multifaceted.
The fitness industry is extremely materialistic. Here's my car, here's my watch, here's my biceps, here's my abs. We're like, well, we got that too, but here's my family, here's my business, and oh yeah, my 3-year-old pooped on himself today. So I think it brings it into reality and people can relate more to us, and it allows us to relate to them and empathize. I think the key word here is empathy.
Yeah, very personal. I love it. So again, let's just start a touch. So this is just a snapshot of your site. So primarily you are selling nutritional supplements.
Yes.
And you're shipping it directly to them.
Yeah, that would be B2C, straight up with content backing it.
Got it. Okay, so let's just talk through your approach. So you focused entirely on your value proposition and discovering why, like you say, why do people buy from you instead of Amazon? So your real goal is?
Well, I mean, the real goal is to essentially get people to buy into our message that we're actually helping them, we're providing the content, and we're selling more than just tangible goods. We're selling a lifestyle, and we're providing content to help them reach their goals. And that's something anybody in any industry, I mean, I've had a lot of people we've talked to this weekend who are in the B2B aspect of things. They're selling business to business, and let's say they're working and they're selling, let's say, a food product, or they're in a depot type store. How do you help those people? How do you help them where you're more than just an outlet to buy stuff, but you become an authority or at least someone helping them on the other side of the business? So let's say you're selling to restaurants, you're selling meat. How do you become someone who, maybe you're an expert on grades of meat. Maybe you come out with a new way to package meat and give it to them. Like, what are you doing to add value to their business rather than just saying, hey, here's some cheap beef? So it's that proposition. Again, go into that value proposition. What are you offering? What are you offering that person if they do business with you.
I'm being crystal clear on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look. Here's just a snapshot. We don't have time to share all these videos, and you guys can definitely go check out the Tiger Fitness channel. This is an old one I pulled out from.
Oh God, yeah, I look like 20.
And this was an early video where you did a product review, and I think you read the ingredients, you talked about your experience. It was pretty basic. And one thing I thought was really interesting is that a few years later, you pulled it off the shelves, and you were really upfront and really honest with your customers about it.
Well, I mean, when things are deemed, to be unsafe. Now we're not the police of the industry,
right?
But we are safer than everybody else, if that makes sense. Like if something is on a gray list, or I'm not going to go into ingredients, it's like, what the hell is he talking about? But if something is on a watch list or anything, or it's even the least bit questionable, one reason is it's a larger site. The FDA is the first one to beat down our doors and pull guns.
Right.
So we're not messing with them.
Right.
Don't mess with the government. Okay, that's one thing I've learned, or the government, as we say in the South. And at the end of the day, what we can do if something is mislabeled, we pull it off. For example, there's a big thing. Remember the HCG diet? Like we pulled it off simply because it was an FTC violation. Their claims were over the top. We were like, look, we just have an ethical issue with this. So we're upfront and honest with our customers as much as you can be. Again, we have to carry products that people buy. Like I always use this analogy, the person at Walmart, the buyer, I'm sure he doesn't use one-ply toilet paper. He's making probably 70 G's a year. One-ply toilet paper, it hurts, it might break. You don't know what happens when toilet paper rips, it's bad. So I mean, dude's like, but you know what? Some people buy one-ply, so he has to carry it. So if there's a consumer demand for something, as long as we legally can carry it, we're going to absolutely carry it. But we're honest about our reviews on supplements. Like if an ingredient's questionable, we're going to absolutely tell them about it.
I love this quote. You said, I don't get a crap what you put in your body. I just want you to know what you're putting in your body. So they make the choice.
Yeah, and I didn't write that. That was unscripted. I actually said that off the top of my head. It's, the thing is, for my philosophy, it's beyond this point. But I think your personal responsibility to decide what you put in your body, but if it has to be on the label to be in that product. If anything's mislabeled or proven to be mislabeled, that's a whole red flag, and we would never, put our consumers in that spot where they don't know what they're putting in their body.
Got it. So one thing I thought was interesting as I was learning more about you, I started to not see a line so much between TigerFitness.com and Mark. And how do you differentiate between the two brands, or is there no definition between the two?
Tiger Fitness, I believe, as far as the YouTube channel goes.
Right.
Now, Tiger Fitness, in my opinion, on social media, and if you look at a brand page, there's no person behind it, they might get a ton of views, but I doubt the conversions are there because you don't have that, like we were talking about, that personal interaction. Now on Twitter and stuff, I think it really works well. In fact, we have separate things. Like I have my Twitter, I have my Instagram, this and that. And then we have a separate guy running our Tiger Fitness stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's really cool and that's a good thing to do. But when it comes to video, like you think about your senses, right? Like you have only so many things. You got olfactory, you have touch, you have your hear, you have audio, you have visual. Video hits pretty much everything but olfactory, which is scent, and you can't touch, okay, unless they come out with that technology, which would be awesome. For some industries more than others, you know what I'm saying? We're in Vegas. So at the end of the day, I think that with certain forms of media, you need to have that personal approach, which is why on YouTube it kind of like, okay, here it is. Here's the approach. It's become more of like, here's who we are. Whereas on Twitter and Instagram, you can kind of differentiate because like mine, even my Instagram, it's a bit weird where it's a lot of personal stuff. But then again, I'll throw in like, if I'm going to launch if there's a good sale at Tiger Fitness or I'm launching a new pre-workout, you're damn right I'm going to put it in there.
Right.
Whereas Tiger Fitness is more motivational quotes and things that are more corporate, which allows us to kind of have the best of both worlds. So it just depends on the medium. But if you have a chance to use your personality, your company's personality and what it stands for, by all means, don't hide. People want to be able to associate a brand with at least some kind of a value set.
Yep, for sure. And I know you take that seriously. So I pulled this out. This was a response to you, and you said, this means the world to me. And one of your customers wrote a thing about your great father and husband, and obviously they know a lot about you. It goes deeper.
I think that our base, and every company needs to look at, it's all stuff that you guys teach here. It costs so much more to get a new customer than keep an old one. So we obviously we need new customers. Every company to grow needs new customers. That comes from word of mouth. So every single, and this is something you look at in your company, you can't just farm out your emails to India or whatever people are doing now. I think that personalization, like I handle all of my own social media. And I will answer a Twitter message, a Facebook message, or an email from a customer before I'll even talk to a business-to-business contact. The CEO of the largest distributor in the industry can email me. If I have a list of customer emails I have to get through, he's coming last. Because let's be real here, you could push your product in all the stores in the nation. You could be in every form of retail possible. If there's no consumer pulling that off the shelf, you just wasted your damn time.
Right, got it. Okay, so I think, again, the goal for marketers is we tend to be a little bit more on the corporate side of things, at least what I see, and so the goal is to move closer. Not quite as personal probably that we're able to as you can, but somewhere closer.
And some people can be that personal, especially startups. I think for a startup, and I know, there's probably might be some startups here, but if you're a startup, that's one way to separate. Like, hey, look, this is my baby. This is what I'm going to do. Here's this. And it might start out like it's not going to be quick. You're not going to all of a sudden, become Gangnam Style. You're not just going to boom, blow up, viral. It's going to take, you'll start at 1, then you might get 10 views, then maybe 20, and it's a grind. But as we learned from good old Jeff Ma yesterday, you got to stick it out.
Right.
That's the take home I got from his. That was the main thing, stick it out. And just you can't just do something for a week and say, I'm out, that's it.
Yeah.
No, you got to stick it out. You got to give it time to develop and work.
So let's talk about grinding it out. Your content machine. I know you keep it pretty simple, so let's talk about production. I know this particular video, your wife shoots it. It's pretty straightforward. You're in your kitchen, and I know you tried some slicker things.
We do both. If we do, we have this cool manufacturing video, tour the manufacturing plant. You got me voicing over in the background. That's top quality. That's some ish you see on TV. That's good stuff. That's some stuff I want playing when I die in my eulogy. Boom. Look at that, right? But for the most part, the beauty of social media, we listened to This Room yesterday. Was it I forgot the name, Nextiva or whatever?
Yep.
But he was talking about it dude, iPhones have a built-in friggin' 4K camera. We bought a 4K camera. It's that's what they call it that. It costs $4,000. Your iPhone, you call, email, and film stuff on it, and the quality's there. Look, this isn't going to be edited to the tilt, but I have a Mac. I use iMovie. I drag it in, intro, outro, that was done. And it's good. And the thing about content for us now, if you're a production facility, if you're putting out quality, that's great. But if you have what we have, which I consider more of a vlogging channel,
right?
You can't sit there and spend $150, $300 a pop to have someone edit it and do effects. So either you teach yourself how to do that, and if you have the time to spend 4 hours a day editing your stuff, that's great. I spend if I put out 3 videos a day, I'm looking at a 30-minute time investment.
Got it. And they're pretty uncut as well. I know you get a lot of your content from Q&As.
Yeah.
And they're pretty straightforward, but you have a ton of them and a ton of content. And you've done some SEO research on this too.
Well, absolutely. That's one thing we've been focusing on. The Q&As are done. My opinion on Q&As is simple. If I was there's 10 to 15 questions in those videos. And if I did, it would just be so many, who has time for that? But the search terms are in there. And you know what? My theory has always been that if one person asks it, how many people are thinking that? Because I might be well, who the hell wants to know about natural bodybuilding organizations, right? But that dude's asking about it.
Right.
There's at least one. And if I do it in a list, that's fine. So that's something new I've been doing. Obviously, if there's a question that really hits home, for example, 17-year-olds, I don't know if you guys know this, probably not good for them to take steroids. And I want to just do that kind of as a public service announcement. This guy had a really kind of heart-wrenching story, and online you have a lot of misinformation. I just wanted to state some facts about it. So you can get emotional with things. I mean, you might get trolled on, but it is what it is.
Let's talk about your content planning and how you choose your topics. So you mentioned you get a lot of things from the Q&As, things that are coming in, but you're also super aware of trends and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, with our content site, a gentleman named Steve handles that, our content director. So obviously we look at trending topics. We always stay up on the news. We try to hit key things. But there's also, you could use SEO programs to figure this out and figure out what terms are hitting and try to address those terms from an SEO standpoint. So you write a good content piece on that piece of information, and that'll help you from another side. So that's something we have in our our online magazine, so to speak.
Right.
But you can do that with video as well, because remember, YouTube's owned by Google. It's basically Google Video. So the stuff we do in that obviously is awesome.
Right.
You can still do that for video. So if there's a cool term hitting, feel free to rock it out and just address it.
Let's talk about, you have different channels. You mentioned Instagram
Yeah.
and Facebook and that kind of thing. Let's talk about how do you choose which messages to go on which channel?
You know what? The messages that go on each channel, they can all have similar messages. Obviously, Q&As I love to address on YouTube. Instagram, if you guys have Instagram Story, Instagram Live, look, Snapchat, you know, it's cool. I know people still use it, but we've been having tremendous success with the Instagram flash sales because it disappears in 24 hours. And with Instagram, unlike Snapchat, if you are verified, I know that takes, nobody really knows how the hell to get verified. I did because I was on some crappy TV show. But you swipe up and it goes straight to buy it. So the conversion's phenomenal. So I like to do direct sale pieces on there as well as, but you can't just sell. If you have a channel that just sells, nobody wants to go there. It's like, do I want to go somewhere to have someone sell to me? It's like walking into a room of telemarketers. All right, so at the end of the day, I think that YouTube, you combine information, but you can sprinkle in sales pieces. Just don't make it all about sales. You have to give content.
Right, and this piece right here, I know, talking about gating or not gating, you say, I'm not trying to sell subscriptions.
Yes.
So this was a book that you offered. Tell us about how you position that.
Well, I mean, Drop Factor book, it's a book. Books take a long time to write, but it's information. And like we said, supplements substitute. Okay, supplements supplement, they don't substitute. So with that book, we're able to give high quality diet, high quality training, that kind of gives them the blueprint, because nothing, like we say, these are all, it sounds cliche as hell, but nothing works unless you do. And that further reinforces our belief, and I think it's just the right thing to do.
And I know you are really passionate about like walking the walk. You have the training, you train yourself. You really are not the typical CMO that we would expect here. But you also produce content that is not your typical workout post. I was extremely impressed with the level of sourcing you do. You reference really in-depth scientific articles. Tell us about that, how that's important to you.
Well, I mean, you don't want to sell BS. Again, you're in an industry based on that trust of hopes and dreams. Like, well, it sounds good, he says it. Well, here's a list of 20 studies that say the exact same thing. So that's why, you know, we make it a point to use in our supplements at least, you know, scientifically validated ingredients. So it's not just pulling off some rat study done in China in 1952. You know, we want relevant ingredients to help people reach their goals. It all comes down to the trust factor. And I just think it's the right thing to do as a company.
Definitely. And your social media response is phenomenal. So I've been following you for some time, and you are on Twitter all of the time.
Yeah.
So there's also, I know, being in person, people want to meet you. How important is that to you?
In person's the greatest thing you could ever do. I mean, I do probably 2 or 3 events a month at least.
Right.
And, you know, being able to go to people, and one thing I will say, if you do meet people, remember that's your first chance. That might be your only chance. And I'm not a very touchy person. I make sure to hug everybody and look everybody in the eye, and because I legitimately care about them. So you can't fake it. You have to legitimately love your customers and what you do, because they will see right through BS.
Absolutely. Okay, and I know behind the scenes, we always talk about that in terms of authenticity, like show the work, show what goes into it, show the people behind. I think this is the video you mentioned.
That's the pretty one, yeah.
Yeah, where you go in and you're on the factory floor and you're showing how you seal it and everything.
Yeah, and I think that's key, that's transparency.
Yep, and we can all do that for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely something you could do with your company. While if you're not in manufacturing, you could do it in other facets of your company, in showing, you know, how you do things. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, here's our office. Again, unless your office is like your garage. Then I just rent one of those like Regis things and just kind of pretend it's your office.
And even more so, I know you have these Behind the Hustle series.
Yeah, those
which
are fun.
Is unbelievably personal. Like, I know so much about you guys now. I feel like we're all friends and family. Tell about that.
Honestly, it's something that we've put off doing for a long time just because of comfort level. But, you know, what we do is we basically show that, again, it's a flashy industry. Like, Instagram is based on, you know, erasing wrinkles, sticking your butt out and taking selfies. You know, I want our social media to show that, look, we're dudes. We're a family. You know, we're working. We're hustling like you. And we're doing our best to provide this for you, but at the same time balancing things. Because for me, fitness is fitness is everything. Fitness is handling stress, handling life. Because guess what? Sometimes you might not be able to go to the gym, or you might feel like crap and have to go anyway. So we want to make sure that we connotate that, and that's something you can do with your customers or anybody. Is just, there's nothing wrong with, and I'm not saying call people, oh, such a bad day, but be positive about it. You know what? I'm happy to be here. And that's what, because we really are. Like, we're really legitimately happy people. At least we try to be. And that's the culture we want to, get across for our corporations.
Yeah, and performance, it seems, in all aspects of life. So physical performance, but also this is a video. It's your wife who's here today, and you're talking about, financially taking control over your life and paying over your credit cards and understanding that your customers have many facets, not just that they work out.
Yeah, and again, that's not for everybody, but for us, it's just where we've evolved.
Yep.
Because, honestly, you get tired of just, hey, here's how to grow big biceps. And I think that it's good to have that personal factor, and it'll take a while to pick up, but it's something that we're sticking to. I think we're on like day 37 or something now, so we're doing okay with it.
That's the thing about content too, right? Is keep coming up with fresh ideas. So.
Consistency.
Yep.
Consistency.
Now you speak your mind as well. You don't hide your feelings or your opinions at all. So I know you've kind of had a line there that you've discovered. Talk about that.
Well, here's the thing. You can fight the fight, and you can argue all day that. So they pulled Ivanka Trump's clothing from Nordstrom, and her sales went up everywhere else, and now it's like quadrupled in size. We made up a word there. But, at the end of the day, I think that you can skate certain things. Like, this is fact. Any business journal will tell you this, Minimum wage in Amazon will destroy the U.S. economy. And I present it in a way that's like, hey, you know what? This makes a little bit of sense. But I think staying away from certain things like religion and politics, and I learned this over time, because I used to be like, F it, and I actually quit posting on my own personal Facebook. I don't post on it anymore. Everything's positive, business related. I don't opine on things, and that's something you might want to look into, speaking as someone who learned his lesson kind of the hard way. Not really the hard way, but just learned a lesson.
Right.
It's just pointless. You know what? Debate stuff at dinner with your uncle. But like going on Facebook, if you're representing something and saying anything even if you think there's no way someone can find this offensive, trust me, they can find it offensive.
They'll find a way. Let's talk about results. So you've been pretty darn successful. This is your community. These are your followers.
And it's growing, and we're having fun with it. And this is kind of a weird thing, because this is mine, and Summit Tiger Fitness's. So you combine the two, and it's quite a healthy following. And, those are things that we're always striving to grow. And like I say, I'd rather have 100 quality views than 1 million crappy views, because there's a lot of viral videos we have that will never express who we are or do anything for us. But sometimes you need that viral thing, because out of 1 million people, if 0.2% are like, you know what, this guy is not that ugly, that's not a bad win. And considering it's free and Google even pays you to put videos up, there's nothing wrong with having a viral hit here and there. But don't aim for viral. Maybe once in a while just for fun, aim for viral. But just aim for information, aim for content, aim for helping people. Try to help one person, and you might end up helping 1 million people.
Awesome. Okay, so just wrapping up our takeaways. We don't need to go through them all again, but they're there for your reference. And before I get you to talk about your key learnings, if you guys want to raise your hands, I think Keith's got a mic so we can come around. But let's talk through what are your key takeaways from this?
Figure out your position. The first two things I say in any seminar or lecture, anything I give at any university, whatever, positioning, differentiation. What's the position of your company? How are you different from your competitors? And then you just got to hammer those things home. Hammer them home, and don't give up on hammering them home. You got to figure out, why are people buying from me? You got to sit, at the end of it, here's the thing. You need to sit down and say, why would I buy my stuff? Why would I watch this? Why would I do this? Why would I have this business help me? And if you can't logically answer that with at least one key discernible differentiation point, you're going about it all wrong. So first thing you need to do is differentiate and position. Second thing, personalize it. Look, the only thing that separates you from Amazon is you. And again, don't be afraid to be you. Again, going back to the political thing, okay, don't be too much you, okay? But you know what? There's nothing wrong with being like, you know what? I'm kind of feeling sad today. There's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe just being honest with people, but be you. Don't try to be something you're not. And I think that's something we're learning as you look at the world. People are being more real. You know, politicians are throwing out F-bombs like it's going out of style because that seems to be, it just sounds real. I'm not saying go on there and start cursing if you don't curse, but like don't change yourself to try to be someone you're not.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Do we have any questions?
I talk a lot, so.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's great to hear from you and hear your perspective.
That was an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.